everybody. Welcome to the third episode of the Idle Park Talk Show. Today, we are talking everything sports and the pandemic. To help us talk about sports and keeping fit during the pandemic, we have two good friends of the Idle Park Talk Show. Valerie, who is the president of Spirit FC Football Club, and George, who is the secretary general of the same football club. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you guys feeling today?
Well, feeling good despite the pandemic and the lockdown, but it's a beautiful day in Calgary out here. It's a sunny day, so spirits are high.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day out there. We're hoping that, in circumstances like this, we'll meet in a different context, probably on the soccer pitch. So unfortunately, we have to be in this situation. So
yeah, usually on a day like this, we'll be out having soccer and having some fun afterwards.
Yeah, that's the the downside of what we are all living at the moment as members of Spirit FC. Our Saturdays used to be different.
So much fun.
Yes, we've learned in the last 1 year how to keep engaged or keep active, sometimes virtually or otherwise. Unlike meeting at the beach and having some fun and barbecue and so on afterwards.
So could you please tell us a little bit about Spirit FC? What is it? What is Spirit FC? What's
Well, as we, at least we here on the panel, we know that Spirit FC is a soccer club here in Calgary, predominantly of gentlemen, or comprised of gentlemen from Cameroon, but of course we have members who come from Nigeria, Sierra Leone. We've had people from Morocco, from everywhere that has joined the club years down the road. And I know, correct me if I'm wrong, that Spirit FC has been around since 2007.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. So it's
2010, I believe.
2010. Okay,
yeah.
The group has been existing since 2007.
Yeah.
But the name Spirit FC came up 2010.
So initially we had the Ndamba Football Club.
Okay.
Right.
When 2010, it kind of morphed into Spirit FC.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of story behind that, but there was a change.
Spirit FC came into place. I'm thinking it's 2013. That name, Spirit. Can anybody remember?
Yeah, I think that even came up.
But guys have been playing in that.
Yes. So, but members, or I would say 80 to 90% of those who today are members of Spirit FC were in Ndamba or have been meeting, to keep fit and play as far back as 2007 and then 2010, then eventually 2013. I think that's right, Ghana. That the name Spirit FC was inducted. So, and I'm not sure, I wasn't here. But of course,
it'll be interesting to know how that name came about. Spirit FC. It's always brought funny thoughts to people who just hear for the first time.
Yeah, that's true. But again, I think it was just more or less a gathering of people who enjoyed playing football, who liked the sports, and wanted to come together every Saturday. To most of the time, most people did not even play; they just showed up, and a little bit more of the ambience of veteran football clubs in Cameroon, where you are not expected to be in the pitch and play, but you can still be part of it, right?
That's right. But as Ghana is saying, Asong, I think that you are, I would say, one of the custodians of the group and the name. So you definitely have some information as to how the name Spirit FC, why about Spirit FC? I mean, the public would like to know. People are curious because sometimes they may just say, "Oh, Spirit, is it kind of?"
I don't know that I could give you a clear answer to that question because I think at one point we met after playing and realized that we did not have a name. So it was like, what do we call ourselves? Just like that. And then somebody proposed, well, there were a couple of names, and somebody proposed Spirit FC, and everybody seemed to like it.
Well, I have an educated guess because
Okay.
at the time people used to sit around and just contribute, right? So it was just something coming out from the spirit of giving. So I think that's the origin of the name. So Spirit FC just came. So when you came, like they say, the spirit caught you, and then you brought drinks or you cooked food and whatever. So I think that was the origin of the name.
And I wanted to ask Mr. President and Mr. Secretary General, is Spirit ever going to consider being part of the Canadian Premier League to join Calvary FC as the second team in the province? Is that something that you are contemplating anytime soon?
That's a very interesting question, but yet again, we have to look at the focus of the association.
Right.
The main thing that we focus in this, it's a community-based association that we, focus through the fraternization. We're coming together to promote, the sport of soccer and also social gathering. We're not initially a soccer club out there to compete,
Right.
but we're using soccer as a means to bring people
Bring people
together. Maybe that could be a plan for the future for, the young ones. A lot of you
I
guys.
think we need fitter
I know.
people to even dream that.
A lot of us here, you guys are fathers, and the kids are getting bigger. Maybe that's a long shot project, but as of now, soccer is that means that brings everybody together. But talking about competitive soccer,
Not very much.
Not very much.
That's far-fetched.
Well,
So it's more. You say it's more of a like social gathering, and then sports is one of the main events of that social gathering.
well, but besides that, Spirit FC exists, and who knows, it might not be during our time. It
Right.
might be the generation or the people that take over from us would want to like transform it to an actual soccer club or training
Professional
ground,
soccer club.
with the resources. But at the moment, we don't have the resources
Yeah.
to
be involved.
Yeah.
invest or to say that we are looking forward.
Do we have the mindset though? Do you think we have the mindset to do that?
Definitely, even if we don't have the mindset as a
Present.
core goal of the group, but we do have members who I think we encourage and we can support them, through even the fitness or
Right.
even through ideas and connections, if that is where they are headed to. Yes, but as a group, it's as the my secretary general just said, it's kind of like we meet. There is a soccer piece. There is the after soccer piece where we kind of like socialize, and then
And we've had a few people who have gone up to play in some semi-professional level from Spirit, right? At least they had some connection with Spirit, I was saying.
so that's a connection piece.
Yeah.
I'm saying that why not? You may come and join the group, and you meet somebody who has an affiliation with
exactly.
the Canadian Premier League, and then you go from there. But yes, principally we are kind of like a veteran
Football club, right? Okay. So there's evidence that the level of physical activity has decreased seriously in the past year, right? And I was wondering how this restrictions are affecting your activities as Spirit FC as a group, and how it affects you as individuals, just your ability to go out and exercise and be active.
Looking at the past year, of course, it's not only Spirit that has been, caught by this situation. I think every association out there, even all the way to businesses have been affected by this situation that we're going through. And yeah, you're totally right. The physical aspect that we do promote, like the sports on Saturdays and Wednesdays, has taken a toll, because of course we have to adhere to provincial bylaws. We can't gather in groups of exorbitant numbers, and that has derailed our plans, but not took us from our main focus. And I'm thinking, just to bring this up, I'm trying to commend our head coach, Mr. Daniel Edi. We've been having some conversation on the background, and I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but a couple of months ago he was putting out challenges to members on the forum, where he was putting his own personal money to challenge members to
Get active.
to do push-up challenges, and
Can you imagine the amount of push-up people did? I saw people doing 75 push-up. I'm like, man, I need to train.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that actually made the members to kind of bond within our main communication platform, which is the WhatsApp forum.
Yeah.
And due to the pandemic, that has been one of the main focus, one of the main areas where we communicate a lot. And some of these ideas that that Coach Eddie brought about, we're hoping more comes along the way, so that we can encourage members, who are mostly a lot of members working from home now. They can be working out a couple of minutes every day.
Yeah. And of course, those who are capable or who could take the challenge. I mean, I know that I wasn't available when I was needed to take my turn. Yes, but that's right. And not just as a group, we do agree, and we have to recognize that individually, COVID is affecting us.
Oh yeah, terribly.
It's affecting us, and to the point where I don't know how familiar or how aware of people are, but the term COVID fatigue, it's there. So much so that you've shifted now your regular routine to the daily thought of, how do I overcome this? How does my family overcome this? How do I go out there in public and come back home and still feel that I'm safe, I'm healthy? So all of these has really, I would say, at least in my perspective, taking the toll on people's, mindset, and even that I'm a mental thought of what time do I keep aside for physical activity versus the time to stay up to date with what's happening out there with COVID day in, day out. So that in itself, it's a real challenge that people, I think, are feeling across the board. And you could see that even in terms of how often we are interacting on the forum. I mean, I cannot say it's a blanket interpretation of people are not responding because of COVID.
Right.
But once when we used to have our regular Saturday activities, we'll also see that there is a lot of engagement in the forum.
Right.
Yes.
So you bring up a really good point about people feeling uncertain about what their futures would look like, and worried about jobs and employment and all that, and all that worry takes away, I think, the thought of wanting to go out and be active, right? So that is a really good point. But I also know that again, there are many reasons why people are not going out and people are not being active. First of all, the restrictions, the lockdown of gyms and pools and playgrounds. You cannot imagine that there were a period of times where playgrounds were kind of shut down, and kids were were unable to go out and have fun, right? Any other reasons why you think people are reluctant or not motivated enough to go out and be active?
I would say that there's this factor of pure motivation, where you people come out to, for example, when we had Saturday practice, people come out there because of the amount of people that came out as well. Some people just need that little push. And taking individual initiative, sometimes it's kind of difficult for some people, but when they see some other people doing it, they want to do it as well. So I think that factor has been taken away, and right now it's the self making all of that decision, and I think it's not easy for everybody to be that self-disciplined and say, okay, every day I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. to go run around my neighborhood. So it's one of those reasons.
And I mean, added to that, you would see that Spirit FC as a group, like, our activities were in person, practical. Meaning that if we are not meeting, then Spirit FC is not occurring. It's not existing. So now the challenge is, like, how can Spirit FC exist virtually? How can people still engage or keep fit virtually? And like the Secretary General just said, yes, Coach Eddie brought up an excellent idea some months ago, the virtual challenge, but again, that peer motivation factor is crucial. Understanding that, for example, we've had in the last 24 months, or in the last 2 years, we've had some very active and busy schedule.
Right.
Say, take example, the last season that we were playing Team Red and Team Green.
Oh, that was
You
fun.
just knowing that the next Saturday there is another Team Red and Team Green session, that will pull people out from the house.
That's really fun.
Yes, but we cannot make that happen now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think the lack of that competitive push kind of limits or reduces people's willingness to do anything. Sometimes the fact that you are heading up, preparing for a competition, sometimes pushes you to kind of prepare and kind of do more on your own, right? Which is something that we are definitely missing at this time.
That's right. And some people just want to get out and play. Remember, we have the forum of 60 plus members. Of course, not everyone is there every day. But somebody who you will not see on the forum, they are regular on the pitch every Saturday.
Every day, yeah.
So some people just want to get out there and play when it's time to play. And, all the talking and so on is not really their thing. But now that is not happening, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are really getting tired. But Josh, you managed to be self-motivated yourself. I see you've been very active lately. Where did that come from?
I mean, it was kind of a wake up call for me, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember I had this routine schedule with my doctor, and I went in to go do my test, and he was telling me, okay, your blood sugar is like this. I mean, I've never had that before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, your blood sugar, you're like 5, and you don't have to get to 7. I didn't really understand. And when I started reading into that, I was like, okay, you know what? I was putting a lot of pounds. I was like, this is, so I just had this self-realization that I had to do something about it.
Yeah.
And the best way was for me to shed the pounds. So I changed a lot of my routines.
Right.
I changed a lot of what I was eating. I changed a lot of what I was drinking. And I had this set routines. I was sleeping early.
Yeah.
So I had a little lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And the results were there. And for each and every one, I think everybody just need their own little moment of wake up. To wake them up, right? Yeah. And I think that was mine. And I was like, okay, we don't have soccer anymore. There's no Spirit FC. There's no way I can go play. The weather doesn't permit me to go outside, so I had to come up with my own schedule at home.
Mm-hmm.
I started investing in fitness equipment, and mind you, it was really expensive because of the everybody was selling stuff online. So I had my little room, and I was documenting every day what I was doing, and that was part of my motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And every day when I went on the scale and I saw that I lost a couple of pounds, it gave me more motivation to go harder. So I think that was my wake up call. I don't know about others, but some people are out there trying as well. So
yeah. The point is, self motivation doesn't come naturally to everybody, right? Like everybody has to find their own niche, like what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I think it helps to start set small achievable goals and then work from there, right? If it means just walking around the block, for 5 minutes, increase to 10 to 15 till you get comfortable and you start running around.
Wait, so I just wanted to come back to what Josh was saying. And when you picked on him, are you saying that you can see that he's been keeping fit?
Oh, no, he's been documenting, and he's been a motivation for me to get fit myself. Because he started putting it on Instagram. I follow him on Instagram, right?
Oh.
He was putting his workout routines there, at least a couple of minutes. So I was like, you know what? George is getting fit. I need to get to, I need to do something too for myself, right? Because I think everybody was putting on the COVID pounds.
Yeah, because people,
you stay home.
People are keeping fit. I mean, in different ways. Just maybe they are not documenting or publishing.
I'm just saying sometimes you just need to see another person doing it, and then it's a wake up call for you too, right? Yeah.
Which comes back to my point about pure motivation, right? Yeah. So that could be a means of motivation for somebody else.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, Big George is doing this. I can do it as well." So.
Oh, and when I watch his Instagram, it was good for me too.
I can we say, I think people have said that social media is like a double-edged sword, right? Because in some instances it really causes people to not really be motivated to go out and exercise, but in another instance you have people getting motivated just because they've seen their friends videos outside doing working out, or there is a little dance thing on YouTube that they like to watch, right? So can we expatiate a little bit about the good and the bad of social media on people's physical health?
For me, from a personal perspective, I've been watching a lot of videos of people transforming themselves, and it served as a motivation. Seeing a guy who was like 600 pounds coming down all the way to 250, I found that very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And I know personally, it's a hard thing to do.
Oh, it's terrible. Really
The guy, it took him like 2 years, so it was a hard thing to do, but it kind of give me the motivation to at least do my own little part. And looking at the disadvantage, when, like you said, is a double-edged sword. The period we are in right now, a lot of people are either on their phones, they're checking their various applications and stuff. And I always say to myself that it doesn't matter what you watch, is what you take from it. So if you're watching those videos and it doesn't self-motivate you, then it doesn't really matter if you act there. If the person comes to your house, it's not going to change anything. So I think it comes from the self, and maybe visualizing some of those workouts could be that little push you needed. But I think it really depends on the person.
I think other people have also mentioned that sometimes the videos put out unrealistic goals and unachievable goals. Like, so you see someone doing on the video 200 push-ups. They put it's in a couple of minutes, right? So you're sitting here thinking, hey, how is he able to do 250 push-ups, right? And then people get discouraged by that, but what's the point? I can't really do much about that, so why don't just let it go and do something else?
So I like the fact that you point that up, Asong, because as George was speaking, I mean, I am one of those that will not really buy into social media and video, for sure. I have to be honest, but it doesn't mean that we cannot still connect and motivate ourselves through that forum. What do I mean? Say as Roderick is saying that he's been following some of George's videos on Instagram. I'm just thinking, how about we begin to like organize live virtual sessions of keep fit.
That would be good.
Yeah. So that, which is practical, and that way also you are able to measure how far you can go. You are able to, even get some coaching, from somebody who is already better at what you are trying to do, rather than just watching somebody else's video that has been recorded and put up, and you are wondering, how do I go about this? But I think if we have maybe sessions where any one of us, would want to lead, a certain physical exercise or activity. That way people can maybe connect and say, oh man, okay, maybe I need a break. Maybe yes. And then
don't go and kill yourself.
And just to touch on that, the aspect of social media, I always talk from a personal point of view. Like you said, some people were portraying unrealistic, goals and all that kind of stuff. And I just beg to differ, because from my own personal situation, I wasn't going out there to do 500 push-ups.
Exactly,
that wasn't the goal. My goal was, the one thing I learned was two equations. Whatever comes in, needs to be proportional to what goes out. So if I'm consuming 5,000 calories a day, and I'm only burning 500, there's no way for me to lose weight.
Exactly.
Okay? So it's not only the workout itself, but the lifestyle needs to change. In order for you to start seeing, those results. And I believe that, it's that's where it's tough. That's where it's tough. Somebody can go out, come to Spirit FC, and we'll play soccer for 3 hours, but then you go back home and you drink
like
12 bottles.
Years.
And stuff like that. All the calories that you burn, it's coming back in.
Right.
So you see that you're at a standstill. So when you're watching those videos about people transforming, it means that it's not only the workout itself, but there's other aspects to it. Nutrition plays a big role. Your personal health and safety plays a big role, like what time you sleep. There are times when I'll be on my phone till 4 a.m. in the morning. It's not healthy. You're in the medical field, you can attest to this, and it's one of the situations where you have to, the lifestyle needs to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of people are giving a lot of excuses why they cannot get fit? Some people say, like you said, a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't do 500 push-up. That means I won't do 20."
But you don't have to do 500.
Yeah, you don't have to do 500, right? Like I feel like a lot of people give a lot of excuses why they cannot get fit.
Um, Again, looking at our situation, especially in the Western world where we are, things are very hectic. There's some very busy families out there. Parents who are working around the clock, and it's all about trying to make find the balance, and trying to make find your routine to fit in. When I started, I was just every day I'll do like 10 push. I could not even do 10 push-ups. Yeah, exactly. So I was just standing, and it wasn't even conventional push-ups. I was just lean on the wall, and I'll do like 5 push-ups. Yeah. The more I was doing it, I started getting better at it. Right. So it's sometimes you only need 5 minutes. Yeah. You could do like 20 squats. You could do different types of exercises just to get your bloodstream going.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to be perfect, right? You have to just start where you are. Just do the little that you can at that point. Start with 5 push-ups. Start with just walking 5 minutes around the block, right? Just do something. Don't just wait. You don't wait until you can run a marathon before you start doing something. It doesn't happen that way. Start by just walking, then running, then a marathon.
I have some mixed opinions about this conversation. Physical exercise overall is good for everyone's health. Just going back to that social media aspect of it, is that like there is no school about social media where we go to learn that when you go to social media, do this, behave like this, or watch for this. What I mean is, once we, as responsible individuals, I assume, decide to go out in public or in the media to submit, any article, we have to understand and be aware that people would read into it. People will feed into it. People will interpret it. People will use it. People will believe in it. So meaning that for somebody who goes out to show a video of them doing 100 push-ups, kudos. But maybe it does the public favor if you put some side notes, just some cheat notes. This is not, something like that. Or it wasn't done in one day. It would help. I'm just saying you don't have to do that, but just being, cognizant of the fact that not everyone out there understands that they would go into social media and they would just pick what is good, or they would understand immediately that, he didn't do this in one day, But just understanding that, when we go out to put something on social media, let's be true about it. So that
I'll give a little rebuttal to that point, because people have different levels of fitness out there, right? The person who is creating the content is not necessarily targeting those who are less fit. He's just putting out there. Probably there are people who are able to do 80, 90 push-ups and they want to go to 100. That's motivation to those people. What I feel like, I feel like people should bear personal responsibility for what they can do and what they can tolerate. If you cannot do 100 push-ups, don't do 100 push-ups. No one is forcing you to do 100 push-ups. But that shouldn't stop the person who is doing a content for 100 push-ups to post that on social media. That's my point.
So Roderick, how about somebody who is going out there to say, I have this fitness channel. Right. Follow me, like, subscribe. Yeah. And if in that platform you are not being true to what you are doing, but you are already inviting.
I agree with you. Don't be fake. Don't be fake in what you're putting out there. That's true.
So that's the dimension I'm talking about.
I get the point. Yeah.
So when you are going out there to say, join my fitness club and so on.
Right. But I get that point.
Educate the people that you are asking to join, or at least when they join, let them know.
True, Valerie. There are too many channels and too many meal supplements and things like that, or let's just take the case of physical activities, where you go to this channel or you read this article and they say, hey, you could do this and this and this and this in 2 weeks. And you're like, is this realistic? It's things like that I kind of worry, because again, even though you need to go to the internet and find what is appropriate for you, the content that is appropriate, but again, not everybody is strong-willed enough to look at something and make really appropriate judgments about what they are looking at, right? Sometimes people believe what they see and they're not critical in their thinking. And you see somebody say, hey, you could lose, or you could be this fit in 2 weeks, and it is practically it's practically impossible, right? And you're back home killing yourself and trying to get to that place, and you would never get there, and then you're discouraged because you're like, I'm putting in all this effort, and I can't get to this place, but this guy is doing it, and see the results and then you're like, maybe it's not for me, right?
For me.
And,
so
and
that's
you leave
again,
it at that.
that's again touching on, understanding that people have different comfort levels, people have different fitness levels, right? So when
people
you are going out,
exactly.
So when you go out to put out a bold statement like that, set a disclaimer. Simple. Well, this might not work for everyone. Something like that. As simple as that. So, but join in and go to the level that you can go, because of course I'm not criticizing people who are doing it. We have some people that can actually cut down or achieve those goals within 2 weeks. But also be cognizant of those who come
might
there.
not be able to. Right. So. Right. I don't know how to put this. Must there be a direct relationship between physical exercise, sports, weight loss or weight control, and diet? Do we always have to make those connections when we talk about our health?
I think so. I think so because at the end of the day, what's the goal? Okay, what's the goal? You have to look at it critically from that perspective. What's the goal? If you're saying, okay, you want to diet, it's either you're dieting to maintain or you're dieting to lose.
Yeah.
You never diet to gain.
I have, but
that's I can diet to gain.
Yes,
but it's a diet. Like I can put myself on a regime to
put on some.
Yes.
But now that the term dieting comes in, is it eating or not eating?
Yes. Okay.
So that's a question. If it's not eating, so it means you're dieting not to gain, or you're trying to maintain your weight or stay where you are. And I think there's a correlation between working out and that. Okay, there are some people who will develop muscles. They want to be muscle builders. Okay, they will have to diet to gain. They want to bulk up. They'll be eating much calories and all that kind of stuff. So it depends what you mean. It means it depends what you mean by the dieting.
The diet,
about.
yes.
Yeah. So if you're
but realistically speaking, like how many people diet again?
No, when you say realistically.
What is realistic
what do you
to?
mean?
I mean, okay,
in relation to diet.
No, most of us. I don't know how many people. I don't know any close friend who's a professional athlete who's like in a competitive sport who is intentionally trying to get muscle. I realize that
have you watched this? There's this show that I used to watch. They call them strongmen or strong people who live.
Yes.
Those guys eat to gain to put on muscles.
They're on a diet.
They're on a diet.
Are on a diet particularly for that purpose, right?
They're training for that, right? Like, but how many of my friends do I know who do that? Right?
So just because you don't know enough people who do that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be considered as part of dieting.
I know.
It's because every day when we talk of, I'm on a diet, immediately you are thinking that we want to cut down.
That is the extreme. They make that's the exception to the rule. Most people who talk about diet want to lose weight or want to maintain weight.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
So who made the rule that when you talk of dieting, it has to be that you want to lose weight?
Who made the rule? That the rule has
because
been
as long as saying, strong men,
right?
They go on a diet
to put on weight.
Oh,
that's true.
So just because we don't have that every day occurring, or we are not exposed to.
I'm just saying the majority of people I come across are dieting because they want to lose weight or they want to maintain. Wow. The majority of people, right? You take the sample of the population of our friends that we know, people want to lose weight. That's why they diet.
And I've come across majority of same people who say I'm on a diet, but I don't see that they are losing any weight.
They might not be achieving the objective, but it doesn't mean that the purpose is misplaced, right?
Yes. Yeah. So again, coming back now to the connection of exercise, weight loss, and a diet.
Yeah.
What is the essence, or how do we really put that on stone? If we have examples of people for sure who go on a diet and they cut down some body mass, versus those who go on a diet and nothing is changing.
I know. I mean, I don't want to minimize people's struggle because a lot of people struggle with weight, and this is a very important issue, a very sensitive issue to talk about, right?
Sure.
We have to be considerate that not everybody's the same. A lot of people struggle with losing weight, and it goes back to my point of setting achievable goals. Think of how long it took you to gain that weight, and then you want to lose it in 2 weeks. Is that achievable? It's probably not realistic, in my opinion, right? So if it sets small goals. I want to do 5 minutes, then I do 10, then I do 15. Then you increase, right? For me, that's a more achievable way of getting around that.
Just to add on what you're saying, it's I don't look at it as a periodic thing. I look at it as a lifestyle. Okay, if you're going to change,
it's important to make that connection.
It's a lifestyle. If you decide that you want to start losing, it's a lifestyle.
Good, yeah.
A couple of months ago, I was going in hard. 2-3 weeks, I lost 15 pounds. Then at one point, I had some other stuff I was doing. I got distracted. Then within a week, I kind of gained 7. Like the more you gain faster than you lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to understand that if you start this, it's continuous. There's no stopping. There's no timeouts. There's no break.
Yeah.
And if you stop, then everything that you lost, you can gain it within a couple of days.
Speaking, you said you gained some pounds after that. Can you speak to that? The acknowledgement of the fact that you will fail if you're trying to keep fit. You will fail, but you still just have to get up and move on.
Yeah, you will. You will fail. At least I would say the temptation of failing is there.
It's there, right?
Okay, it depends on the person now to see if they're gonna strive through that and manage to rise up. But looking at my situation, I would say I went hard.
Yeah.
I lost a couple of pounds, and I was feeling good.
Yeah.
Then
you relaxed.
Then I kind of relaxed, and all other stuff started distracting me. I was focused. I was putting in more hours in work. Other stuff derailed me from my original, focus.
Yeah.
And in no time, you start seeing you going back to those stuff that you swore not to eat, and you started eating them again, and all that kind of stuff. It's so easy to lose focus
Exactly.
when it comes to this. And the discipline, like I had an alarm every 5 a.m. I have to get up to run. There are days when I actually didn't want to get up. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot. It's a lot of mental strength to go through with that. So when you see people, they go up, they lose a little bit, and you see them again back. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's a battle.
Yeah. I can attest to that. I mean, in the sense of struggling, of not staying committed or disciplined. I know maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I decided I would do some press-ups or push-ups like 30 to 50 before I go to bed. I did that for as far as I remember, 2 weeks. And then I went into relapse. So it's true that there's a temptation of failing and people can lose focus. You may start and then you stop and then you realize that, you are gaining and so on. But I just wanted to also highlight here one other variable with regards to not just exercise or keeping fit is the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah.
In the sense that you will speak to somebody and they'll tell you, I've lost some weight because I've been going through some stress.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody will also tell you that, when I'm stressed, I gain weight.
Yeah. It's different with different people. Yeah.
You see? Yeah. So that also not just like on being on a certain diet can contribute as to how much or how well people are, growing in terms of their weight and so on. Because some people will tell you, no, when I'm stressed, I realize that I'm losing weight. Yeah. Or when I'm stressed, I get on the scale and I see I've gained some pounds. So that also is another variable that I think most often we don't talk about or we deny, but it exists, and people will realize that later on that I'm feeding, I'm eating well, but I have some issues, I have some problems, I have I'm going through some rough time in my life that no matter what I do, I seem to lose weight. Yeah, people have, had circumstances that affect them mentally that you only see it, on their body, in the physical. But you cannot translate or you'll be wondering, are they sick, or they'll be telling you, oh no, it's just stress, and you will not know what exactly the stress would be.
Yeah. So we've definitely established the connection between physical activity and weight, being a weight gain or weight loss. There's some sort of a connection to that. There is also some sort of a connection between physical activity, weight, however direction it has to go, and diet. What about the connection between exercise and mental health? So you've mentioned stress and anxiety, depression, and what I know I've read is that increased level of physical activity, exercise, might sometimes help to reduce the intensity of those feelings, right? Any thoughts about that? General mental health. It doesn't have to be specific to depression, anxiety, and all that.
I mean, I'm not an expert in the field, but I know that, and we've heard that so many times, that physical exercise and going for walks, helps with people's mental health.
Right.
And if I interpret it directly, I would say, when you are engaged in that activity, the adrenaline or whatsoever, keeps you away from a fixed, mindset where you are perseverating or just lost in a given concern or struggle or problem that you're having, right? So that in itself could be the interval within which, you are experiencing some positive mental health. Like you decide, okay, I have my car that is broken down. The mechanic is not doing, a good job at having that fixed. It's bothering me. I have to go to work, every day, either by the bus. That is bothering you. But you leave that thought and you go into maybe exercising, So I'm assuming that window, that you are not in that mindset of, how am I going to, worrying. It's beneficial, to your mood. Just because
I know personally for me, I can say that when I'm feeling moody, when I worried about something, most times I go for a little run, go for a bike ride. By the time I get home, after maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes out in nature or wherever I choose to go, I come back feeling a little different. It affects my mood. My mood is better. It affects everyone else's mood around me, right? So that little 20-minute walk has a larger impact, not just on me, but on the people who are around me too, right? So I think that is definitely a positive to improving, at least increasing desire to be active. I would say so.
I think it's fair to say, to some extent, at least with people's experiences, that physical exercise is an alternative coping strategy. When you are struggling with your mental health, because people have different
ways of coping.
Yes. So I think experience-wise, I don't know. Josh would definitely have his own. He seemed to be.
He just has some serious thoughts.
No, well, I mean, I just have to agree with you guys. Definitely. I mean, it's personally, it's not only soccer that I'm engaged in. And, I also play tennis. And
tennis player, man.
It's one of those things where when I go to the court and I have to play for 3 hours.
Can you make the distinction? Is it when you say tennis?
Lawn tennis.
Okay, because we have.
Oh, I know. Just is a good tennis player.
Technically, it's tennis.
I agree. It's tennis. I'm just saying for the purpose of, say, you and I here, because I play tennis, but not lawn tennis. And and I will beat you at that. But if I say I can beat you at tennis, you will think it's lawn tennis. No?
Well, I don't think so. I actually started from table tennis before I moved to lawn tennis, and I think I'm very prolific in both. But tennis, lawn tennis is my main, my main secondary sports, and I've been doing that for a lot of years. I've played competitively.
No man, you've won a lot of titles on that thing.
And I'm still playing competitively, and it's one of the those sports where I always find happiness when I'm on the court. Regardless of who I'm playing, I always feel happy, and you play for a couple of hours. like you said about having some thoughts in your head that bother you, and after you're playing, you just forget about everything. And just to bring stuff into perspective, we know that the pandemic is affecting our association, but I don't know if you guys really recall how members are happy whenever they come on Saturdays and we play soccer. Nobody knows about your personal struggles
because it doesn't come up.
It doesn't come up.
It's football.
All
it's the
you
game,
see
right?
is the happiness in your faces. We might argue on the pitch, but when soccer is done, everybody's just happy, right? So that is it's an aspect that correlates, I'll say.
I think that's one thing that I've really missed during this period. It's just the me looking forward to the weekend, because I know Saturdays I'm gone and I'm playing football and I'm running around and I'm having fun with like-minded people.
Yeah.
I really do miss that. I miss leaving the house for
soccer.
for soccer, but
it's okay, a problem.
Yeah, and we know that I mean, we've been criticized. When I say we here, I'm talking of us who leave our spouses back home, to go to the field on Saturdays. We've been criticized of like not always being there and so on. But
who else gets an argument from their wife when they go to soccer?
But
I'm pretty sure we all do.
But I also feel that maybe the last 1 year, somehow we've realized how tight the atmosphere can be. When you're just staying home. And that maybe our partners.
So it doesn't solve the problem. You go out, there's still problems. You stay home, there's still some problems.
Yeah, but it's for sure. We can really see why we should cherish those moments, those Saturdays. When we get to meet. Now that we don't have the opportunity to, because people have stories. We meet there 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. It's a lot of fun and engagement that's going on. Versus staying 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, just in the confine of your living room, So
George had mentioned some of this earlier. So what I'm wanting to ask is cheap, easy, and fun ways which we can engage in or encourage ourselves or our families to engage in activities. I know you've mentioned a few. It could be very expensive if you wanted to go out and get all those equipments, which some people have done. But I'm talking about cheap, easy, fun ways of doing that, of keeping fit.
Cheap is related.
Yeah, I mean it's
cheap, affordable.
Well, I mean
because it could be cheap for me,
but not
cheap.
Just to bring up a point the president said about walking. You could do that as a family. You guys could set a schedule and say, you know what, every day 5:00, let's go around the block twice. You take your kids with you, and if you guys can afford bikes, right now they're really expensive. You guys could bike around, do it as as a family, and that also is gonna help.
Yes.
Now, if you want to go into the heavy lifting of fitness, you want to buy all those equipments, it could become really expensive, right?
Yeah.
So there are other alternatives where you could, use whatever you have. Your legs are there, the weather is good. Okay, let's hike somewhere.
Yeah.
For example, let's try to discover the neighborhood because everybody's used to driving and it's a couple of steps you're in your house, a couple of steps you're upstairs, and next day you're back in your car. So. We could break that a little bit. Try walking to the grocery store if it's closed. Why not? I'd say, I'm not going to use my car today. I'm going to walk. And those little changes could help.
Yeah.
Could you? So, George, if I ask you, you've submitted some very excellent options, that people can explore. But if I were to tell you that I struggle with these, how would you motivate me, or how can I benefit from some kind of motivation? What I mean is like, maybe can we say throw ourselves some challenge? Say if it's walking, I know because of the pandemic we cannot even do it in groups, but maybe something like, okay, let's set a date and we are going to go out. You record yourself on a 10, 15, 20 minutes walk. Something like that.
Yeah.
Or
definitely like something that could work. We'll all connect on a Zoom call and we're walking together, and while we're conversing, that could be another option, as well as we could reignite those physical challenges that that
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
that Coach AD came up with. Be like this week, okay, it's a push-up challenge. Next week, it's a
Something
walking
else.
challenge. Yeah, something else.
I think the advantage that we have is that we have options. We have those options, right? But those I am thinking about are those who don't have a group that they belong to, and there's no one else to kind of motivate them. It's just them and their families, right? So those are the people I'm targeting here. What could we do? I know you've talked about going for walks and little jogs, and I know my wife is is now a very active member of the Facebook market community. She the other day she went and got jump ropes because someone was selling them for cheap, something like that, right? So you could definitely get those from not necessarily going to the shop to get it, but marketplace Facebook. They have a lot of small dumbbells which are cheap and really affordable, right? And people could definitely do that.
Which I mean, true. But also, just encourage those other people to learn from example. On my drive here, there was a lot of activity on the road. Like a lot of people with bikes, a lot of people, in their fitness gear walking around. And just looking at the atmosphere, I was kind of like, oh, if I'm here, if I live in this area, I'll probably join. I'll probably be part of this. And I'm not saying that it's every neighborhood that's structured like this, or you see people being engaged on the streets like this. But I mean, definitely, it's look out in your community. If you see something that is worth emulating, then of course, go for it.
I have another interesting one: gardening. I did not know until today that gardening could be considered some form of physical. It makes sense, but that is not anything that I probably would have thought of. So if you have a little piece of, I don't know, what do you call it?
A garden.
Garden. Go out and get the kids out there and plant and till and just move, right?
Anything that keeps you active, is different from different people. Just get active in any way, shape, or form that you can.
And one other thing which is cheap is YouTube. It's music. My people do a lot of that. Like they take time, take 30 minutes, and it's just they listen to good music and they dance to it, and you could see them having fun and being active and sweating and perspirating, right? Which it's YouTube. Everybody has access to that, but that is really a very easy way of doing that. And I do have I have a list of 3-4 songs. No, 4 artists who have really good songs out there and which could get you in the groove to be physical and be active. I'd Too Fan. Anybody know? Too Fan? They have one. It's Go Kiribo. That is a really good one.
It's really high tempo.
It is high tempo and it could get you moving. Magasco, who is a Cameroonian artist. Sokoto. It's also one that my people kind of dance to. There's also, I think, Avero Jeme or something like that. Nyama,
yeah, that one's high.
That is a high tempo, powerful track. If you're interested, you could find those and start there.
Wait, are you done with your list?
If you have suggestions, please.
You don't have Macombom. Macombom, our own,
Mako Alota. This is a shout out to Alota. We're giving you free promotion here.
Macombom should be on that list.
Do we know the title? Oh, Bomb, right?
Bomb, yes.
Okay,
title
that's the title.
It's on YouTube.
Alota, this is a free promotion we're giving you, so you have to connect with us.
No, we're talking about Magasco and Too Fan. So we have Alota here. We have even Divine. I don't know.
Those are good.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
they have good music, right?
Maybe we could still tune into what they have out there and then find a groove.
And get exercise. Okay. To round up, considering all the restrictions and seeing everything that's going on, do you guys see a light at the end of the tunnel here?
Yeah, definitely. We've been keeping our ears on the ground. We're following, what the province is advising, and as of now, the restrictions for the next 3 weeks. Maybe things are going to change, and we're hoping, we're seriously hoping that if a positive announcement comes in and they're allowing for gathering, then of course we could make use of the couple of months that's left of summer. But in the meantime, we're ready. We're just waiting for that positive news to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing being that we know that we are in Canada and Calgary, where though it's about 6 months of summer, but we actually have really 4 months.
Yeah.
So our season is really so long. When I say so long, meaning that it's as long as we get engaged and make it. Yeah. So we've already lost the month of April, and we are losing May now. So we have June, July, August. We're hopeful that we could still, make things happen pending, restrictions being uplifted and other guidelines. But yeah, it's been tough, and it's really regretful because of look at what we accomplished last year. That kind of engagement. We're looking to like replicate, and do a remix of that this time around. But our hands are where we all know, and it's an open secret. It's not like we need to come out every day to talk about. It's like we are living in the situation. We talk about it at our various place of work and so on. So we have to respect and not violate. It's important to note that as well. Yes.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for coming. It was a really fun conversations, and we'll look forward to having more of these conversations, and hopefully we can all get fit together and get back to the groove of having in-person organized sports. So that would be really lovely to do. So please kindly follow us on all our social media platforms, and subscribe and check the notification button for regular updates. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, and shout out to all the Spirit FC members and families.